Hello, and welcome to the Gettysburg Update. I'm your host, Dan, and we will be discussing the school board candidate forum, the special election. But before that, I would like to talk about that next Saturday, we will be doing an interview with Jeffrey Rue, the director of the Center for Public Service, and also a candidate for Gettysburg Borough Council. If you have any questions, let me know. But without further ado, let's talk about the school board special election candidate forum. So, at first, they discussed the duties of the school board to create policies, fund school curriculum, approve textbooks, hire and fire the superintendent who hires and fires teachers, and also levy taxes for schools, property taxes, per capita taxes, occupation taxes, and income taxes. Mark Hopkins started with an opening statement. He's a 26-year retired combat veteran. He's got a master's in education from Washington State University. He has 5 kids in public and private schools, and he stressed the elimination of indoctrination. Ryan Kerney, the other candidate, has 4 kids in the Gettysburg area school district system. He's a biologist currently teaching at Gettysburg College. He started his opening statement talking about people on Facebook calling for a second civil war, and also discussing the recent rise in political violence with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And he called for, lowering of the temperature and to stop this vitriol and online threats. Just a reminder, this is the special election for the Gettysburg Area School District School Board, so it's a 2-year seat. It's not a 4-year seat. There are 8 candidates running for 4 spots in the Gettysburg Area School District School Board, but this is another election for a 2-year spot, so not that. So they discussed qualifications to serve on a school board. Kerney has been an educator for 26 years, from middle school to med school, and he works at the bio department at Gettysburg College for 12 years. There's an outreach program that he ran of science equipment to local schools, and he's finishing out a 3-year $12,000 grant from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, which paid teachers to develop lessons plans to align with the new science state environmental standards and literacy standards. He volunteers with the State Department of Education to create those science standards, and he's also done other volunteering, planting trees, field trips, etc. in the Gettysburg Area School District. Mark Hopkins discussed his 2 years as a K-12 substitute teacher, also his involvement with the volunteer PTO, and his establishment of computer labs. So discussed how to address recent cuts to federal funding. Hopkins said to find surplus in revenue, to find surpluses in programs to cut revenue, programs that are already overfunded. That's what he looks to find. He also stressed that federal funding is only 2% of the budget. Kerney criticized Congress cutting Title I through Title IV funding, and funding is frozen. He also criticized the budget last week supported by Representative John Joyce, which would cut Title I and support low-income schools, and all 3 of the Gettysburg Area School District elementary schools qualify for low-income support with Title I funding, so there would be a 27% cut. Kerney discussed the balance between core content knowledge and vocational career technology that is needed, and also noted that they had just raised taxes to fund the Adams County Technical Institute. Hopkins discussed how every student should be required to participate in vocational or technical education courses, and discussed how to engage parents, community members, in decision-making process. Hopkins said that it must be unbiased and nonpartisan community relations. Kerney discussed the current Gettysburg Area School District school boards, beginning the meeting with the national anthem, and then Kenneth Hassinger saying, while this meeting is open to the public, it's not a public meeting. People speak to the school board, and it is acknowledged and ignored. Emailing school board members is more likely to elicit a meaningful response. He also discussed the importance of an open forum for communication. People are concerned about property taxes. That's a big thing, and it's a big drain on your wallet, and he's trying to be conscious of that. The next topic moved on was the 4 goals of the superintendent and discussion about that. The 100-day plan on the Gettysburg Area School District website. Dr. Jeffrey Matzner discussed one of the 4 goals, building strong relationships with stakeholders, ensuring academic success for all students, strengthening organizational efficiency and culture, and expanding community partnerships. Kerney also discussed the dashboard as part of a new plan to bring in new student information from K through 12 about their extracurriculars, sports, classes they taken, grades, goals academically and professionally, and also stressed creating a stronger relationship between administration and academic staff. He says the current board focuses too much on improving the athletic infrastructure and questioning rehiring of coaches. And they could have spent more time doing things that are more useful. Hopkins fully supported the superintendent's goals. The next question was about what should be cut/protected. Kerney said there will be significant school board turnover after this election. He also stressed the importance of being nonpartisan when creating the budget. And Pennsylvania is one of the few states to mandate partisan school board elections. School boards control property taxes, which account for 2/3 of the school's budget. Kerney discussed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which $7 million of the PA state budget may be compromised. There's another discussion about the one African American teacher at Gettysburg Area School District, and it was discussed how you would bring diversity. A diverse student body should be reflected in the search for the recruit of more Gettysburg College alumni and surrounding university alumni to teach. Hopkins stressed the importance of quality, not quantity. He stressed the importance of a quality educator versus the color of their skin. Kerney discussed how diversity is strength in hiring, and there's a false dichotomy between quality and quantity. Hopkins opted to put on blinders and only look at qualification as the only thing, and have, race, blinded policies to eliminate bias. So both of these candidates are vowing to replace a candidate who vowed not to raise taxes but resigned because she could not do so. Her name was Cynthia Ayers. Kerney criticized her for abandoning her office. She did run for Pennsylvania Senate in 2018 in the Republican primary. She did not appear on the ballot. Kerney criticized her for using her political office as a stepping stone to a higher office. He said he will not vow to raise taxes. Hopkins said he is not running a campaign. Kerney echoed talks of integrating the Adams County Technical Institute with the local community college hack in order to save money. And that was the special elections school board candidate forum. So next we're going to move on to the Adams County judge debate for the Adams County Court of Common Pleas. The 2 candidates are Paul Royer and Torren Ecker, both running as Republican. Just for some background, They're both competing for the same seat of Adams County Judge of the Court of Common Pleas. They would be elected to a 10-year term. They would preside over cases of major crimes and civil cases. Paul Royer has extensive experience as an attorney, and he worked in the Adams County Public Defender's Office. Royer has argued cases before the PA Supreme Court. He works in private practice at Stroudsburg Law in Gettysburg, graduate of Mercersburg Academy and Penn State Dickinson School of Law. He described himself as a pro-Second Amendment constitutional conservative. Born in 1975 in Columbus, Ohio, he began his career in civil litigation and worked in the oil and gas industry briefly. Torren Ecker is an attorney in Hanover. He is a representative for the 193rd District of Pennsylvania in the State House of Representatives. He believes in Second Amendment rights. He said school funding in PA is inequitable and stressed funding for vocational programs and internships. Ecker he ran on stopping Tom Wolf, the current governor at the time of Pennsylvania's liberal agenda and massive tax increases. After the 2019 COVID pandemic, he voted to terminate the Governor Wolf's declaration of emergency. Ecker won the Republican primary in, I believe, 2018 by one vote, which was very, very close election. And he was reelected on November 3rd, 2020. On April 18th, 2023, Pennsylvania State Police reported Ecker crashed his car into a guardrail and alcohol was a factor. So, moving on to discuss the debate for judge. It was laid out at the beginning that politics has no place in the courtroom, and their jobs are to be relentlessly neutral. And both candidates talked about stare decisis and relying on precedent. They're not going to be interpreting law in a different way than the previous judges. That's their job, is to rely on precedent. Both said that they're going to make decisions based on fact and a fact pattern. And they stressed the importance and responsibility of sentencing and punishment. And the difference between rehabilitation versus punishment was also described. Ecker stressed the importance of rehabilitation, and Royer cited Kant, where rehabilitation can be a tool of deterrence, and the best way to deter crimes is to welcome people back into society. They also both discussed that not a lot of trials go to a jury trial in Adams County. I think there was one since 2019, something along those lines. But the point is it's very few. Ecker discussed 15 years of practicing law, working in every type of law. Ethics and personal bias should not interfere in the courtroom. Royer discussed the importance of taking people where they are. Another topic discussed was treatment courts. Another, like veterans courts for PTSD, where they would provide transportation, housing, and employment to the person to help rehabilitate them in society. Royer said it's a question of resources. He doesn't have an exact answer as how we should implement that now. And Ecker also said he was in favor of treatment courts to help people addicted to opioids, veterans, and substance abuse courts. The importance of minimizing assembly line justice was discussed, the connection between lawyers, judges, etc. Those connections, sometimes discussions outside of the courtroom lead to very quick decisions, maybe lacking in due process, and they both opposed that. They talked about, Royer discussed ex parte communication laws about what you can say without everybody present, the judge and the lawyer, and if those rules are strictly adhered to, then assembly line justice as a problem kind of goes away. They reserve the right to take time. That's what Royer said. He wants to get things right rather than quickly. There was also a discussion of the growing number of people representing themselves due to bad legal literacy. Royer discussed the need to make all people comfortable in the courtroom, which is the best conditions to seek truth. Another discussion point was how to protect children when they don't understand what's going on in the courtroom. Royer discussed Judge Simpson and how one time in a courtroom, to make a kid comfortable, they brought a dog into the courtroom. He also stressed the importance to have urgency for trials involving children, so that a verdict can be reached for stability and they know what's coming. Ecker discussed how judge should not engage in political discourse on social media. Royer discussed the distinction between personal use and private use of social media, which is folly when you're in public life. So when you take up a public official elected position, the difference between your personal and private social media is non-existent, and he said that he would delete all his personal social media and not have social media as a public judge. They also discussed, what does the rule of law mean to you? Ecker said to apply facts to the law. Royer cited Hobbes in that the rule of law counters the law of the jungle, and it's not a policy of might makes right. It sets a level playing field for equality, due process, and the regulatory state. So that was the Adams County judge debate. Now I'm going to discuss the Edgar Allan Poe Speakeasy coming to town, a haunting cocktail experience inspired by the dark and imaginative work of Edgar Allan Poe is making its way to Gettysburg this October. The Edgar Allan Poe Speakeasy, a traveling event that brings 4 of Poe's most iconic stories to life through dramatic retelling and themed cocktails, is set for October 8th through 10th at the Lodges of Gettysburg, 685 Camp Gettysburg Road. The 90-minute immersive experience pairs Gothic ambience, including flickering candles, dim lanterns, and Victorian-inspired decor, with chilling performances by Poe historians and a curated menu of themed drinks according to an event release. 4 of Poe's most famous stories will be featured: The Raven, The Black Cat, The Mask of Red Death, The Telltale Heart, each exploring themes of love, loss, and the shadows of the human psyche, according to the release. Cocktails inspired by each tale will be served throughout the evening, including the Nevermore, a black and gold drink crafted with orange peach blossom vodka, and the Cocktail of Red Death, a fruit-forward beverage made with freshly squeezed seasonal produce. Mocktails will also be available for guests who prefer a non-alcoholic experience, according to the event's website. The Edgar Allan Poe Speakeasy is a must for cocktail aficionados, literature buffs, or simply those seeking a new adventure. The release reads, "The Speakeasy has made stops over 100 cities across the United States, and tickets for the Gettysburg shows have been selling quickly, according to the release." Beth Sensini, director of events at the Lodges at Gettysburg, said the venue was originally scheduled to host the experience on October 9th and 10th, but the popularity of the event led to the addition of a third night. Originally, the event was only scheduled for October 9th and 10th, but tickets sold out so quickly that the shows on October 8th were added. Sensini said, "Each night will offer multiple showtimes with general admission tickets priced at $55. A guest might be at least 21 years old to attend. The venue is fully American with Disabilities Act compliant, according to the ticketing website." Sensini recommends a guest make an evening of it by enjoying dinner beforehand at the Lodge's on-site restaurant, Glory Ridge Tavern and Grill. "We have a full bar and offer a variety of pub-style food, as well as grilled burgers, salads, and more," Sensini said. "The restaurant also offers outdoor seating, and reservations are required," she said. For more information or to make a reservation, call the Lodges at Gettysburg at 717-642-2500. Lodging is also available for guests interested in overnight stay, Sensini said. The Lodges at Gettysburg feature 28 individual guest lodges with a total of 45 rooms. To learn more about Edgar Allan Poe Speakeasy or to purchase tickets, visit www.edgarallanpoebar.com/tickets. Gettysburg College to host the Hesburgh Lecture. The Notre Dame Club of Gettysburg will host the 2025 Hesburgh Lecture October 9th at Gettysburg College, featuring lunar scientist Clive Neal. The lecture, titled "Establishing a Permanent Human Presence on the Moon, Science Fiction or Science Fact?", will take place at 7 p.m. in Mara Auditorium at Masters Hall, according to a club release. The free program is open to the public, including high school students. Neal is a professor of civil and environmental engineering and earth sciences at the University of Notre Dame. He has 39 years of experience in lunar science and has studied the moon's origin, composition, resources, and evolution, including ancient volcanic eruptions. According to the release, Neil is also a proponent of sustainable human space exploration, economic development of Earth-Moon space, and future trips to the moon, according to the release. Earlier this year, Neil delivered a technical presentation to the United Nations Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space in Vienna, Austria, focused on the need for international cooperation in utilizing space resources, with particular attention to the moon. According to the release, the Hesburgh Lecture Series was established more than 30 years ago in honor of the Reverend Theodore M. Hesburgh, who served as president of Notre Dame and passed away in 2015. In each year, professors from a variety of disciplines traveled nationwide to provide lectures in the area of expertise, according to the release. The free event is sponsored by the Notre Dame Club of Gettysburg, along with Gettysburg's Department of Economics, Physics, Political Science, and Public Policy. More information, contact Patrick Cawley at 717-215-6202 or Jim Conrad at 443-370-9740. Next up, locals join demands for cyber charter school reform. At various times over the past half dozen years, leaders of all 6 Adams County school districts have joined with others across the state in calling for cyber charter school reform. Harrisburg legislators who favor reform efforts are divided on the best way to make changes. Pennsylvania's 14 independent cyber online charter schools currently enroll nearly 60,000 students and cost the Commonwealth public schools close to $1 billion annually. The heat is on to enact reform following passage in June of House Bill 1500, which calls for sweeping changes in cyber charter school funding and oversight. Initially sponsored by 32 Democratic representatives who passed in June by a vote of 104 to 98, with only 2 Republicans supporting HB 1500, would set a fixed statewide tuition rate of $8,000. Governor Josh Shapiro's budget proposal includes the same $8,000 per pupil limit, which is estimated to save Pennsylvania's 500 districts a combined total exceeding $600 million. Locally, estimates for 2 district projects, the Gettysburg Area School District would save $957,000, and Littlestown would save $852,000. Currently, according to a February 2025 study of the state's largest 5 cyber charters by Pennsylvania Auditor General's Office, annually costs to local school districts for each student who enrolls vary widely, from $6,975 per student to $25,150. For students determined to need special education, the cyber charters charge local districts from $18,329 to $60,166. Not only are local districts charged for those who enroll in cybers, they lose state funding for each student who does so. The proposed legislation would curtail the buildup of large balances in the cyber schools' coffers, which the Auditor General determined increased 144% from 2020 to 2023. In addition to financial concerns, the cybers are criticized for failures to monitor student progress and conduct the same periodic wellness checks as do other schools when a student doesn't show up, and for their low graduation rates compared to the regular schools. The Auditor General's study, and another by Education Voters of Pennsylvania, also allege widespread excessive spending by some of the cyber charter schools. Based on a review of their financial records, the EVP report alleges in the 2022-23 school year, the cybers spent more than $21 million on advertising and gift cards. The Auditor General's report cites instances of the cyber charter school using taxpayer dollars legally on things like staff bonuses, gift cards, vehicle payments, and fuel stipends, none of which are received by other public school employees. The audit further revealed one of the schools, Commonwealth Charter Academy, spent $196 million on real estate acquisitions and renovations, despite the fact most employees can conduct online work remotely. Republican Auditor General Timothy DeFore commented on the report, "I am now the 3rd Auditor General to look at this issue and come to the same conclusion. The cyber charter school funding formula needs to change to reflect what is actually being spent to educate students and set reasonable limits. Unlike cyber schools offered by many districts, which are online extensions of local schools, the privately run cyber charter schools operate independent of districts. Yet, the local districts must fund the charter cyber schools without a say in how they operate, and with no control over their budgets. The current system could be characterized as education and taxation without representation. HB 1500 required greater transparency on the part of cyber charter school boards, who would have to abide by the Sunshine Act and publish budgets in advance, as do public school districts. According to HB's 1500 sponsors, a recent survey of Pennsylvania's 500 school districts found a staggering 472 of them have passed resolutions calling for meaningful cyber charter reform. For a half dozen years, Adams County school districts have engaged in individual and joint efforts to prompt reform initiatives in the legislature. In 2019, about 70 people from all 6 districts convened in a public forum which urged support for reform legislation introduced that year in both the Pennsylvania House and Senate. Board discussions around the issue have arisen frequently in the ensuing years, particularly from the course of wrestling with annual budgets. At various points, leaders of the district have adopted resolutions or signed in with peers from around the state calling for legislatures to enact reform. In 2019, the Conwego Valley School District, CVSD, board approved a resolution asking the legislature to revise the existing flawed charter school funding system. The following year, the Gettysburg Area School District Board joined the Pennsylvania School Board Association in another reform initiative. In mid-September this year, 2 county district superintendents from Fairfield and Littlestown signed on with 213 of their peers from the Pennsylvania Association of Rural and Small Schools in a letter to the state legislatures calling for meaningful cyber charter school funding reform in the state's next budget. To undergird its advocacy for cyber reform, Upper Adams did a comparison of cyber charter costs with its own online school. Last year, the study revealed operating the local Canner cyber connection cost $48,600. Had the same 44 students enrolled in the state's cyber charters, the bill to the district would have been $642,000. At the same time, the district's call for cyber charter reform, they also make efforts to keep students in their classroom or their own online programs. Littlestown has 176 students enrolled in cyber charters this fall, at a projected cost of $2,700,000, up from 159 students and $2,100,000 2 years ago. To stem the growing tide of losing students to the cyber charters, district officials state, quote, "Our Director of Educational Services conducts outreach to students to encourage them to enroll in our programs, either face-to-face or our Thunderbolt Cyber Academy." Gettysburg Area School District officials state that bills from the cyber schools grew from about $1 million 5 years ago to a little over $2 million in the current year, when they are 160 students enrolled, including 60 identified as special students. A Gettysburg Area School District board member, Al Moyer, also serves currently as acting superintendent at Littlestown. Based on 40 years as a teacher and administrator in public education, Moyer said he's 100% convinced cyber education is substandard to traditional classroom learning. In every context where he has observed student progress, Moyer is convinced cyber learners are behind their peers who attend brick-and-mortar schools. A district statement contending the local Gettysburg Area School District cyber program is superior to the charters concludes students' success is most consistently linked to strong relationships, a supportive learning environment, and opportunities to stay connected to their school community. Gettysburg Area School District statement points to the value of students remaining warriors who, while studying online, are still benefiting from the personal connections and resources of our schools. Moyer, who serves as co-chair of a PSBA task force on cyber school reform, is convinced districts are being overcharged by the cyber schools. It's a money grab by cyber charters, he said. When a student with some minor challenge is reclassified as a special student and a local district's payment is thereby doubled, stressing that he and his fellow Gettysburg Area School District leaders are strong proponents of what students need. Moyer said the cyber schools go in excess in offering costly student experiences like field trips to Hershey Park. Compared to the frugality of local districts, which are careful stewards of taxpayer funds, Moyer said the cybers pay the chief executive higher salaries than public school counterparts. In 2024, the Pennsylvania Cyber Charter Schools tax filing showed its chief executive salary as $230,000 $9,000, with additional benefits of $91,000. The Pennsylvania Department of Ed reports that the average statewide superintendent salary is $165,500. Asked why the reform has proven impossible thus far, Moyer speculated heavy lobbying efforts and perhaps campaign contributions by cyber school supporters influences some lawmakers. A recent Spotlight PA article claimed that last year, the state's largest cyber charter, Commonwealth Charter Academy, spent $202,500 on lobbying. Local House member Dan Moule and Torren Ecker voted against HB 1500, but both say they see the need for reform. Ecker said he is supportive of reform efforts, but not sure the proposed 8,000 is the magic number. Moule argued, saying that he felt the lower figure would kill the cybers, which he sees as needed to serve students who feel bullied or underperform in classrooms. Moule, who described himself as pro-school choice, and said, "I'm partially in favor of vocational schools." He also said it is critical that costs be more equitable across the state and unwarranted designations of cost special students status be curtailed. State Senator Doug Mastriano, Republican 33, is widely known as a staunch school choice advocate who has proposed eliminating property taxes, the largest source of public funding. In May this year, Mastriano introduced in the Senate an Educational Freedom for Families Act. Under Mastriano's proposal, an educational savings account would be established and families could draw from it to send their children to any private or public school or be homeschooled with state-funded scholarships. A February 13th statement by Mastriano claimed results of Senate Bill 969 would expand charter schools and include enhancing cyber school options to accommodate the specific needs of families and children. Okay, we are back. Our next story, the York County Astronomical Society, YCAS, is offering a public star watch at its observatory at John Rudy County Park, 400 Mundus Race Road, York, on Saturday, October 11th from 8 to 10 p.m., according to a society release. The event will begin with a screened astronomical presentation on current astronomy topics, the release reads. Guests will then be guided on a tour of the sky through one of the club's telescopes. Attendees will be shown a host of celestial objects. Quote, do you have a telescope and are not sure how to use it? Send us an email at info@astroyork.com to schedule a lesson at the observatory, end quote, the release reads. While the event is free and open to the public, a donation will help the society continue to bring astronomical events to York County and surrounding areas. If it is clear, all events will occur as scheduled. In the event of extreme weather, call 717-759-YCAS. For the notice of cancellation, visit www.astroyork.com or our Facebook page at York County Astronomical Society, YCAS, according to the release. Next story, Mastriano and Mule field questions. The Adams County Council of Government, ACCOG, hosted its annual legislative forum recently, inviting State Senator Doug Mastriano, Republican 33, who is eyeing another run for Pennsylvania governor, and State Representative Dan Moule, R91, to discuss their current work in Harrisburg and answer questions submitted by municipal officials. The closed-door event was moderated by Abbottstown's Borough Manager, David Bolton. Mastriano, who chairs the Senate Veterans Affairs and Emergency Preparedness Committee, opened by highlighting bills signed into law in the past 2 years. His committee aims to be the most proactive, active, and productive in the Senate, he says. We have accountability and oversight, Mastriano said, pointing to the creation of a state fire commission confirmed by the Senate for the first time in Pennsylvania history. He described efforts to respond to the overdose epidemic. We're losing about 3,500 a year in Pennsylvania from overdoses, Mastriano said. Act 18 of 2025 ensures that overdoses treated by emergency medical service are not tracked in real time, reporting statewide, Mastriano said. The bill ensures if there's a spike in overdoses reported by fire and EMS, assets can be surged to the area to help death, Mastriano explained. Another bill, Act 34 of 2025, allows EMS providers to leave behind naloxone after resuscitating someone because of the risk of the person overdosing again once EMS leaves, Mastriano said. Mastriano also reflected on lessons learned from crises around the state, including the Norfolk Southern derailment in western Pennsylvania, the Pittsburgh bridge collapse, and Tropical Storm Debbie. He criticized what he viewed as unequal responses to rural infrastructure failures by the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency, especially as several bridges in the state have been out for more than a year. They had to attend my fearing, and I'm like, how could you build in record time a 6-span bridge in Philadelphia, but can't fix 2 small bridges in rural Pennsylvania, Mastriano said. Closer to home, Mastriano praised the firefighting response to the Michaud State Forest wildfires earlier this year, while stressing the need for better compensation. Watching our firefighters, most of whom are volunteers, standing on the streets asking for donations with cups is just sickening to me. That needs to be addressed, Mastriano said. Looking ahead, Mastriano said sustainable funding for the next generation 911 system will be critical, especially after the statewide 911 outage in July. Strong municipalities make for a stronger Commonwealth, whether it's supporting your fire and EMS providers or ensuring your 911 systems are up and reliable, Mastriano said. Mastriano also highlighted bills benefiting veterans, including Act 27 of 2024, which excludes federal disability benefits when calculating state benefit eligibility, and Act 70, which codified Pennsylvania Vet Connect programs, which connects military veterans and their families to community-based resources and earned benefits. Moule, who chairs the House Agriculture Committee, began his remarks by paying tribute to the fallen York County police officers, noting his colleague, State Rep. Torren Ecker, was attending a funeral for York County officers recently killed in the line of duty. Moule spoke out about the importance of working cross-party lines in the Agriculture Committee. There are both Republicans and Democrats in the committee, Moule said. There's very, very little arguing between the two, Moule said. Moule said his seniority has given him influence with state agencies, which he used to advocate for municipalities. He described frustrations with Pennsylvania Department of Transportation reportedly holding up projects in an Adams County township. My advice to the township is to let the job sit and tell PennDOT it's all yours, Moule said. Moule became heated when discussing private equity firms buying mobile homes, communities. When I see something that wrongs people, especially the little guy, I get irritated because the little guy is the one I'm elected to protect. I'm not elected to protect the private equity firms, Moule said. Moule denounced cashless policies at high school sporting events, is potentially pursuing legislation against the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic Association, he said. Several schools in the region do not accept cash at school sporting events, Moule claimed. On education, Moule promoted his bill, House Bill 1861, to allow high school students to earn elective credits by training as certified volunteer firefighters and emergency medical technicians. Moule said Mastriano, who is a vice chair of the Senate Education Committee, offered to co-sponsor a version in the Senate. Mastriano closed by touting bipartisan support for the Beagle bill, which would end experimentation on dogs and cats. We found in research 95% of the experiments have no relevance to people, he said. Mastriano credited the Adams County Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals leadership as being the driving force and brains behind the bill. Bolton urged ACCOG members to receive a legislative committee within the organization. If we don't do it, Pittsburgh and Philly will do it, Harrisburg will do it, Bolton said. Who's defending our rights? Who's defending our outlook? In other news, with the government shutdown happening, the Park Museum and Visitor Center will remain open at the Gettysburg National Military Park. During the federal government's lapse in appropriations, the Gettysburg National Military Park Museum and Visitor Center and its complex, owned and operated by Gettysburg Foundation, will remain open during regular hours to welcome and serve visitors, according to release. The Museum and Visitor Center is open daily from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., according to the release from the Gettysburg Foundation. While many services typically provided by the National Park Service are paused during the shutdown, the Gettysburg Foundation is continuing to operate the Museum and Visitor Center and provide access to a wide range of visitor experiences. The following services will remain open according to the release from Bruce McConnell, Vice President of Marketing Operations. Film, cyclorama, and museum experience. View a new birth of freedom, followed by the dramatic light and sound show of the 360-degree Gettysburg cyclorama painting. Then explore artifacts, interactive exhibits, and short films that bring the stories of the battle to life in the Gettysburg Museum of the American Civil War. Licensed battlefield guide tours continue by bus and car. Car tours require reservations. Shopping and dining, the museum bookstore and Battleground Cafe and Grill will remain open for shopping, snacks, and meals. McKenna Foundation Resource Room. The resource room is open with Gettysburg Foundation volunteers available to help guests explore Civil War ancestry and begin research. Tickets and maps. Visitors may purchase tickets to Foundation programs and obtain maps at the ticket counter and front desk. NPS facilities. All roads within Gettysburg National Military Park will remain open to vehicles, pedestrians, and bicycle traffic, according to the release. Gettysburg National Cemetery and Eisenhower National Historic Sites home tours are closed, but the grounds at the Eisenhower site remain accessible from sunrise to sunset. Educational programs, interpretive services, and information desks are operated by the NPS are paused. NPS rangers and volunteers are not available, according to the release. NPS protection rangers will continue patrols to ensure the safety of the park resources and visitors, the release reads. Lost and found items should be returned into the security desk in the museum and visitor center located at 1195 Baltimore Pike, Gettysburg. Tickets, maps, and visitor updates can be found at gettysburgfoundation.org. However, I will just add to this story that it is not recommended to visit the park during a shutdown because they have limited resources, but the services that I said will be open. Let's see here. We have Attorney General seeks local cops' advice. Pennsylvania Attorney General Dave Sunday came to Adams County Wednesday afternoon to seek advice from leaders of the county's police forces. Before he and Adams County District Attorney Brian Sinnett convened at the closed session roundtable Sunday, explained he is chair of the Senate-appointed state task force on recruitment and retention of law enforcement. The statewide shortage of police and other first responders has become, quote, an absolute crisis, Sunday said. No one wants to go into public service jobs like law enforcement and firefighting, EMT and ambulance services, probation, and similar work, which constitute the foundations of our society, he said. To bolster police recruitment and retention efforts, the task force is seeking advice from the frontline law enforcement officers. The people doing their job every day are the ones with answers, Sunday said. Conversations began with officers in urban areas like Philadelphia, but he and other task force members realized it's important to hear from chiefs in more rural areas. The meeting at the Adams County Human Services Building north of Gettysburg was the first of what Sunday expects to be many conversations with smaller communities throughout the Commonwealth. Sunday expressed gratitude to Sinnett for helping convene the meeting of leaders of about a dozen municipal departments. He's a leader in the state's District Attorney Association, Sunday said, of Sinnett. In the advice session, Sunday said he and others will ask local leaders what they're seeing and what are their struggles and challenges. Assumptions are the people considering their vocational futures tend to shy away from police and other emergency services work due to perceptions of poor pay, low morale, high stress, burdens on families, and danger. Sunday and Sinnett also noted that staffing shortages compound morale problems and burnout as workers are forced to spend long hours on the job. The expansion of overtime pay also places strain on already overstretched budgets, Sunday said. In what he described as cannibalizing, Sunday said police departments desperate to hire are tempted to lure candidates away from other agencies, causing tensions among partners who must work closely together in crisis situations. When a tragic incident happens in which an officer or other first responders injured or killed, such as occurred recently in York, it's a further downer for recruitment, he said. Along with encouraging more people to enter and remain in emergency services, the task force also concerned about measures that he might support, officers' well-being and that of their families. An emergency responder accepts the risk involved, but it's often more difficult for family members to cope with the stress, Sinnett said. These are heroes, Sunday said, of first responders, whose families are often frightened. Sinnett and Sunday both pointed to the challenges in their offices and others, which they also regard as severely understaffed. It's unbelievably challenging to do our jobs to the standards society expects without adequate staff, the AG said. Despite the challenges, Sunday, who has been serving as AG since January, said, quote, "I love my job. There are amazing things happening in Pennsylvania every day, and we're working hard to find those things and be supportive." Now, for some community events, in Adams County, Adams and York County veterans organizations are sponsoring a free bus trip for veterans and a guest Thursday, November 6th, to the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. Adams County and Hanover veterans will meet at the Hanover Elks, 47 North Forney Avenue, Hanover, PA at 7 a.m. Advanced registration is required. Registration forms can be obtained at any Adams County or Hanover area Veterans Club, or by contacting Bob Miller at 717-676-6180, or by email rwmillercpa@hotmail.com. The deadline for registration is October 24th. The next meeting of Adams County Trout Unlimited is Wednesday, October 15th at 6:30 p.m. This is a regular business meeting. It is free and open to the public at the Adams County Conservation District Office, 670 Old Harrisburg Road, Gettysburg. Gettysburg Area High School class of 1961 will meet for lunch Tuesday, October 14th at 12 noon at Heartland Family Restaurant, Buford Avenue. The Women's Club of Gettysburg meets monthly every second Wednesday, October through May, at Haas's Steak and Seafood House, 1140 York Road at 11:30 a.m. Wednesday, October 8th is the next meeting. New members welcome. Officers and ladies for the Union will offer a living history at the Children of Gettysburg Rupp House History Center at 451 Baltimore Street, October 4th to 5th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, and 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Sunday. There will be a candlelight talk at 8 p.m. Saturday, free to the public. Join PEO Chapter BL of Gettysburg in supporting women in education. Come and have fun at the holiday card making party, silent auction, and craft fair. Enjoy hot cider, hors d'oeuvres, November 5th from 3:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Lake Heritage Community Center, 1000 Lake Heritage Drive. Advanced reservations required by October 27th. For more information, email gettysburgchapterpeo@gmail.com or call 717-398-2740. Gettysburg High School Class of 1959 October 7th meeting is canceled. Gettysburg Walking Club will meet at Ventura's Restaurant on Tuesday, October 7th at 10 a.m. to walk around Fairfield with lunch afterwards at the restaurant. Everyone is welcome. For more information, call 717-528-7646. VFW of Gettysburg will hold Bike Night on Friday, October 17th from 4 to 8 p.m. The event will be open to the public with live music by Jalopy Deluxe and food available for purchase at Big D's Pit. VFW Post 15 is 369 East Middle Street. And there will be Catholic Mass at Sunday at 5 p.m. at Christ Chapel in Gettysburg College. Also, Provost announces postgraduate partnership with Lancaster University. Provost Bukwala announced that Gettysburg College has established an international postgraduate program with Lancaster University. This is the first of its kind at Gettysburg. According to the email, Lancaster University, a top 10 university in the United Kingdom, is widely recognized by leading employers around the world. Gettysburg graduates who meet the GPA requirement will be eligible for guaranteed admission into any of Lancaster's master's programs. This includes MBA programs in management school, which is Triple Crown accredited. Grad students who will apply and are accepted will be guaranteed housing and gain access to the scholarship packages at Lancaster. Awards will be automatically granted to students who meet the university's eligible criteria. The postgraduate partnership is a result of a strong 25-year relationship between our two institutions. We deeply value Lancaster's University's commitment to academic excellence, and we are eager to see the remarkable achievements of our graduates will realize through the new initiative, Bukwala said in closing. I have been Dan. Thank you so much for listening to the Gettysburg Update again. We have Jeff Rue interview with him about his run for Borough Council. That's going to be next Saturday at 4 p.m. I'll see you there. Thank you. I've been Dan.